Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, or welcome back for returning viewers. My name is Lee, and wait, what is that? Wait, no. Well, I guess being in the sun really does give you some color. Anyways, where were we? My name is Lee, and I'm a toy designer, illustrator, and part-time content creator. For today's video, I will be taking you through my process in creating a doll based off of the Marvel Rivals' new Lady Loki skin. Just to start off, I thought I should be honest and let everyone know I actually have never played Marvel Rivals. But even though I haven't played it myself, I have friends who do, and since I'm around I have friends who play, I've been aware of the game for some time now. While I know it tends to have a certain reputation on the internet, I have to admit the character designs and artistry behind the game are pretty great. I personally really enjoyed the art style of the game, and the character designs, besides their exaggerated personalities, are actually quite creative and fun to look at in my opinion. Along with my very limited knowledge of the game and appreciation for the art, I can also say that I used to be an invested Marvel fan in the past. When I was more invested, especially in the MCU, my favorite character was always Loki by far. Some of you may think I was just being a typical edgy kid and wanting to be different by liking the villains instead of the heroes, but it was honestly more than that for me. Even when the first Thor movie came out, I really resonated with his character. I won't waste your time with my ramblings on all the nuances of his character, but I will say, as an adopted kid who's always been a bit of a black sheep, I could relate to the struggle of wanting to be loved, appreciated, and accepted by those who are important to you. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to get into it, so I won't, but since the new summer skins were revealed, and then I found out Loki, specifically Lady Loki, was a part of the lineup, I wanted to express my excitement using a creative outlet. At first I was just going to make an illustration, but then I decided to take it a step further by making a custom doll instead. For this project I used the tennis player made to move Barbie as the base, since the skin tone and hair color were a close match. I also enjoyed the mobility of the joints for this doll just for the posing purposes. The first thing I did was remove the factory paint. For some reason this doll's face did not want to come off. Even after letting the face soak under an acetone-soaked paper towel for some time, I tried to remove the face with a strong swipe and it didn't budge at all. I ended up having to sort of scrub the face off instead. With the face finally clear, I could move on to the next stage of customizing, which for this doll includes body modifications. While this doll was almost a perfect match in terms of the hair, face, and skin tone, her body didn't have the certain assets necessary to replicate the game's design. To prepare the doll for the modifications soon to come, I sanded off the molded underwear to not only remove that obstacle, but to also rough up the plastic to better accept the epoxy. Once the surface was textured enough, I mixed the two-part epoxy and began sculpting curves onto the doll. With the epoxy putty, I was able to expand her bust and hip size while keeping in mind the joint mobility. After the body reached a shape I was pleased with, I sanded her once again to help blend the plastic and the putty. Then, with the body modification sanded down, I was able to mix a paint color close enough to the doll's skin tone. I then applied it to the cured epoxy, and then after the paint dried, I sealed the body with varnish. Once I was done with the body modifications, I moved on to the face-up. Since I'm more used to the larger canvas of a Monster High doll face, painting the face-up for this doll was a bit more challenging. Nonetheless, I was able to achieve a more sleek and mature look for this doll. The next thing I worked on was the hair. I first adjusted her hairline to be a widow's peak shape, and then I partitioned her hair, tying up the main strands that framed her face. With the face framing hair separated from the rest, I went on to shortening the hair first with the blunt cut. I then went back in to give more texture. With the help of hairspray and some styling putty, I was able to achieve a medium-length hairstyle with the middle part. As you can probably infer, the outfit for this doll was pretty minimal due to it being a summer release. Since the skin only really includes a swimsuit and a small cover-up skirt, the outfit didn't really take that long. I started out with the top part of the swimsuit, which just consists of two of the same shape of overlapping fabric pieces. I cut out one in black and one in this teal organza fabric I have. After the pieces were cut out, hemmed, and the darts were sewn in, I painted on the details to match the concept art. The bottom of the swimsuit was pretty simple as well. It consists of two pieces of black fabric, cut in a pattern, one resembling the letter T and the other resembling Y. Once again, I hemmed the fabric and then I attached the T and Y pieces at the base to form the crotch of the swimsuit bottoms. The next part of the doll that I focused on was the sculpted accessories, including the headdress, jewelry, and belt. For the headdress, I wanted the fit to be pretty snug, so I covered the doll's head in a thin plastic and began sculpting on top of that. As a base for the headdress, I formed a ring of jewelry wire to sit on top of the correct placement, and then I sculpted off of that using 2-part epoxy putty. Eventually, I was able to create a headdress or crown similar enough to the concept art. To make the jewelry and belt, I followed the same steps as the headdress by using a small wire armature underneath sculpted epoxy. Jumping back to fabrics, after the belt cured, I attached a curved strip of organza and then I attached a gathered strip to the edge. I also gave the doll skin-tight arm covers, which unfortunately I had to sew onto the doll due to this doll not having easily removable hands, so once again I became very familiar with the invisible stitch. Once the many pieces of this project were completed separately, I was able to put them all together for the finished doll. At the time of recording this video and making this doll, the skin had not actually been released, so when prepping and making this project, I only really had one concept art illustration to work off of, so I apologize for any of the inaccuracies to the official model. With that disclaimer out of the way, here is my version of Marvel Rivals' Lady Loki Summer Skin.